And next up, we are going to have Leon Doe. He is the head of gaming at ChainSafe. In his free time, he's a prolific fisherman, rock climber, and surfer. And for his talk is going to be game engines in Web3. Let me invite to the stage my workmate, Leon Doe.
What's going on, Kwame? Yeah,
Hey,
that
dude.
is definitely related to you.
You ready, dude?
Yeah, ready to go.
All right, man.
Okay. Can you guys see my screen? Just want to make sure. Okay. So when I started this presentation, I was thinking like, oh, this is going to be super technical and kind of dig into the weeds of all of it. But I figured let's take a step back and make this more generalized. So I broke it down into a journey. So 3 chapters. Chapter 1 is the hackathon, kind of the beginning of how this started. Number 2 is the product, where we currently are. And number 3 is the vision. And along the way, I've learned really important lessons, and I just wanted to share with you guys. So this started, I think last year, right, July 6th, or I'm not sure exactly. I don't know where I got this picture, but it started with HackFS. So shout out to Juan. He's going to be talking right after this. Shout out to the Protocol Labs team for sponsoring this. So it started off with, this hackathon. And the idea was to build anything on IPFS, Filecoin, it wasn't out at the time, or libp2p, right? So any of the PL protocols. And me joining a lot of hackathons and losing a lot, my goal was to like try to step it up and work on something serious. So as always, I jumped in trying to tackle like big problems, right? So big, in fact, that I don't even have a description because it's so complicated. So it was me and my buddy, and we were like, okay, let's spend a day and brainstorm on what to do. So we came back the next day, and I told my buddy, like, hey, I got 3 ideas. Which one do you think is the best? So these were the ideas. Idea number 1, let's build a DeFi application. Sounds very familiar, but yeah, let's do that. Idea number 2, let's build a wallet, right, for a hackathon project. And idea number 3 is build a DeFi wallet, right? And my buddy, long story short, like shut me down. He's like, Leon, we always come up with these ideas, and all of our hackathons, we always lose. Let's not do that, right? So I took a step back and I thought, okay, let's think of something else, right? But not so serious. So I thought, okay, why is Web3 so serious in the first place? And I was thinking maybe it's just me, right? So I had a different perspective after I've had that chat with him.
Hey, Leon, sorry to interrupt. Your microphone is rubbing against your sweater. Sorry about that.
Oh, cool. Is that good now? I think so. Okay.
Thank you so much. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. So yeah, tell me if it happens again. So I thought, okay, let's make this less serious, right? So on a spectrum of many serious and meme, where many serious is your DeFi, your wallet, where money and lots of funds is at stake, or meme, where there is no money or it's kind of like flashy. I wanted to be more in the middle, but more entertaining, right? So the idea after that was to let's focus on games. So the big idea for that hackathon was let's build a game with a gaming engine, not so much using HTML, CSS, but like a gaming engine like Unity or Unreal, and put that on IPFS. That was the goal. The goal was to basically build an immutable game, right? Once it's pinned, it's difficult to take down. As some of you might know, websites live around 3 months, 4 months, and it's dead, right? So would it be nice to have a game that kind of lives indefinitely? You can definitely fact check me on that by just going to Product Hunt and going through the history and clicking on links, and almost all of them are dead. So why not have a game that kind of lives on for a while? And I didn't know how to do this, so I went online on Google and I searched, IPFS Unity, and I found one forum, like a sub forum somewhere on how to do this, and this was like years ago. So I figured, okay, no one's done this, or no one's really explored this, so let's give it a shot. We had a couple weeks. Let's give it a shot and see if it worked out. luckily, it worked out. And not only was I able to put a game on IPFS, but I was able to document it and kind of explain how to do it step by step. So I published this article, and people started realizing, oh, you can actually do more with this technology, like combining these two things. And not just that, but other teams like Slate, shout out to Cake, are also exploring this space. So Slate is a way to host information on Filecoin IPFS. They also have a section down here for games. So people are starting to explore this. This was not the case last year. People are exploring it right now. So what's the take-home message for chapter 1? Take-home message is like, don't take things too seriously, right? Like have fun, right? We're not here, at least I'm not here, to solve the problem, but focus on solving a problem, right? You never know where it's going to take you. So that's chapter 1. So chapter 2 is the actual product. And this is a continuation of chapter 1, the hackathon. And that is, okay, we have a game that's immutable, right, on IPFS. But what if I have pieces in there that I want to mutate, I want to change, I want to update, I want to level up? That's difficult, right? So that's when I started exploring the blockchain side, like the Ethereum, the EVM part of it. And I wanted to stick with the original idea of using a game engine instead of HTML, CSS. And once again, went on Google, searched how to connect Unity to Metamask or Unity to a wallet or the blockchain. And I found very little, if not any, documentation. So spent a crazy amount of time looking into this and figured out bits and pieces, right? And just a little bit of information that I found, I just published it. So I wrote this article in October of 2020 on Unity Engine plus MetaMask wallet, right? So an article, I think it was like maybe 1 page. If you just Google this, Unity MetaMask, you'll find it. It's like 1 page on how to do this. It's quite outdated. But right after this, people started reaching out. They're like, hey, like, do you have this already pre-made in like a package or a library I can install or download? I said, no, you'd probably have to write from scratch. And these guys kept asking and asking and asking. And I realized like, oh, this could be a thing. So I started exploring more, and it's not just connecting to a wallet, but there's also the whole blockchain side of how do I connect to a blockchain like Ethereum, right? So after a while, I realized it's not just this piece, but we're missing a whole layer and stack. So what I mean is, let me break it down. So you have the Web3 tech stack, right? On the left-hand side, you have your websites. So if you're trying to build your DeFi application on a browser, you have all the tech required: HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Web3.js that we also maintain, Ethers, and Ethereum, right? We have all that to connect the front end, HTML, CSS, with the back end, Ethereum, right? We have that middle layer. But for gaming, if you have a gaming engine, you're missing this piece. So nowadays, a lot of game developers are using the tech on the left-hand side and trying to convert it over to the right-hand side. So it's using the wrong tools for the wrong job, basically. So this piece here is what we're trying to develop, or what we're developing now. And we call it ChainSafe Gaming. So Kwame's involved, I'm involved, a lot of us here listening in are also involved. And what we currently have now is not just one blockchain that we can connect to, but six or more, 6+ more chains. And the cool thing, which I'll explain later, is people are using other chains that didn't even know worked. Like they were using rootstock, they're connecting to rootstock, they're connecting to Harmony, etc. Like things I didn't even realize you can do. And that's the really cool part. So what did I learn about this whole part 2 of the actual product? Well, part 2 is this feedback loop of creating something that you don't know if it's going to work or not, and listening to the community, right? That, as Christina said. So luckily we have this Discord channel where we publish new releases, have new updates, and we immediately get feedback on what's good, what's not good, right? People are trying to break our things like on purpose, which is good, and we're trying to iterate on this. And so the big thing that I learned about part 2 is, even if you're trying to create something small, a Medium article, a YouTube video, like even if it's 30 seconds, and you don't think it's complete, like put it out there and listen, because you never know what it was. You know, you never know if it's going to be good or not, because that article that I started with the Metamask and was just like, I guess it works, but there's no documentation. So I published it, and that kind of kickstarted this cycle here. So now on our product side, we're trying to make this cycle as tight as possible, right? Create and iterate as quickly as possible. So that's what we have for the product. And for the vision, I thought about this. It might change, but what I see is to connect game engines to Web3, right? So I think the browser is quite, it's definitely more evolved than what we have with game engines. Let's try to catch up, right? That's the idea, to connect game engines, the Web2 space, with different blockchains, different protocols like IPFS. That's the goal. However, it sounds easy, right? You have point A, which is Web3, point B, which is Web2, and you have a bridge, like one bridge. But it's not that straightforward. There's actually it's actually a maze. So this is kind of what it looks like, right? We have, if you break it down, you have multiple game engines, right? You have, and each game engine is broken down to different builds. So you can build for mobile, you can build for desktop, you can build for WebGL, you can build, et cetera, or console. And then when you have that, you can connect each different piece to different blockchains, right? Polkadot, Polygon, Ethereum, et cetera. And then you can connect that to different protocols such as IPFS. And then on top of that, you have the whole signing bit with multiple wallets. So it's less of a bridge from point A to point B, but more of like a network like this. So over time, I realized, okay, there's a lot of pieces moving. Not everything's good, but our goal here is to, let's focus on one piece at a time, like one connection here, for example, and make that our goal and work backwards. So the last piece that I learned was to work backwards. So what this means is vision, but backwards, right? So if you look at it, chapter 1 was learning all the tools, right? Or as many tools as possible, experimenting with different things and knowing what they do. Part 2 is iterating and seeing what users want and don't want. Part 3 is actually you coming up with a vision and working towards that. But it's not that easy where you have a vision and you say, I have all these tools. These tools will get me to that point. I actually learned it the opposite way. It's, you have an endpoint, you have a vision, and then you think, what tools do I need to get there, right? Instead of the other way around. So that's kind of where we're experimenting now. We're kind of pushing the boundaries of what tools can we use right now versus what tools can we, well, have to build ourselves. So that's kind of the last piece that I've learned when it comes to vision, work backwards. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you. If you guys want to know more about the SDK, visit gaming.chainsafe.io. You can also reach out to me on Twitter and Discord. Appreciate the time, guys. Thanks.
Awesome presentation, Leon. It's good to hear some of the backstory of how everything got together. Let's see if we have any question and answers or questions from the audience. I have a question. What's your favorite part about working on the ChainSafe Gaming SDK?
Yeah, well, you probably know about this too, but as Christina said, the community. So what we do is more on tooling. So kind of think of this as like Web3.js or Ethers for gaming engines, right? So it's a set of tools that you can connect to any smart contract that you want or any blockchain that you want. The cool thing is what people are doing with it. So we have teams that are, they basically have a game where you can go in and interact with different DeFi protocols. So you have each bank, which has a different DeFi protocol. We have games that are NFTs where you can go in and lend your NFT to somebody else, earn off of that. And it's, the cool part is just seeing what people use with this tool, and I'll build with this tool. That's the coolest part.
Okay, how far are we from full-scale blockchain gaming adoption? What do we need to get there?
Yeah, it's tricky. So right now it's quite early. If you were to ask about gaming last year, there wasn't much. Like this year, this year it's starting to grow. I'm sure we're in this. When I see the hockey stick curve, we're like at the bottom here. This is like ETH at like $0, in the pennies. We're very, very early. People are still experimenting with different tools. Same thing with us. There are lots of things, as I said, working backwards. We don't have the tools yet. So we're trying to develop that. And once that's good, build that foundation, people can build on top of it and create some really cool stuff.
Next question. What are you most excited about for 2022 with the SDK?
Yeah, so we have, I don't want to spoil it too much, but we have a couple of things in mind. So as I mentioned, each game engine can be built for different platforms. For example, Android, iOS, mobile, Android, iOS, desktop, etc. So that's the main goal, to build it once on a game engine and export it to different platforms. So that's one thing. We have other ideas to make buying and selling easy. I won't spoil it too much, but yeah, those are some ideas for 2022.
Press. Next one. What Web3 games are you most excited about?
Yeah, I think it's the ones that haven't been built yet. Right? These are the ones, like people right now. It's really cool. I'll give you a story because I like stories. Somebody just started using the SDK. Let's just say, this week. The way that they're progressing is so quick that by the end of the week, they're already deploying their smart contract and interacting with it and like building a game, not knowing anything about crypto week 1 or week 0. So the progression is like really fast. So I'm excited to see, people understand this stuff in a short amount of time. I'm really excited to see what happens next year.
So true. Next question. Who are the main competitors to the gaming SDK, and how do we shift the conversation with them from zero sum to positive sum?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So we have a few competitors. We have some differences. So the main difference is almost all of our competitors are non-custodial, meaning when you create an account, all of your private keys are not your private keys. They're their private keys. So from the beginning, our goal is to make things non-custodial, make things as open as possible. So that's our biggest differentiator. They also focus more on specific blockchains because, for example, they raise a token. On our side, as you can tell from the slide, we are blockchain agnostic. So we connect with as many blockchains as possible, as many wallets as possible. So those are our biggest differentiators.
Question. When can we expect to make in-game NFTs, like crafting things and mint them as NFTs?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So we don't have, how do I explain this? We have these things called prefabs, which are drag and drop. You click and things just work. So we have that for your basic reads and writes. The minting part, essentially you have the tools to do that right now. You can do it today, but it requires a few more steps on the developer to do. Our goal, we just mentioned this morning, our goal is to like simplify that process and make it like one button, but functionality wise, you can do it right now.
Whoever posted that one, it was in our stand-up this morning.
I know.
That was the last question. And dude, it was awesome to have you speak here, a little bit of backstory on this. And have yourself a great afternoon, and we'll get our keynote speaker to pop up.